This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, good morning everybody. As you can see, it is a very wet start to our day. Something we have not seen in many months is big puddles on the road. So we got really good rain last night, which is excellent news, and hopefully it's the start of things to come and that the area will start to green up a little bit and all the dams will start to fill. My name is Tristan. On camera I've got Sebastian this morning, and it is a very warm welcome to what can only be described as a very grey, overcast Sabi Sands this morning. Like I say, lots of rain last night. It's quite cold, it's windy, and the forecast is for more rain during the whole course of the day, as much as what we received last night. So should get lots of kind of good rain today, which is going to be fantastic for the bush. Now remember that we are coming to you live, which means that we would like to hear from you, and so hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, at FC on the YouTube chat. Keep it relevant to what you're seeing and we shall answer as many questions as we can. Good. Now the plan for the morning is that we're heading north to the northern boundary. What we're going to do is we're going to go from Gallagher Shortcut, we're going to head straight east, and we're going to try and just check the boundary to see if there's any sign of lions coming over towards that buffalo herd. I believe the Nkuhuma Pride was seen yesterday on Triple M North last night, and so they might have crossed over. The big rain or downpour that we had was at about 3 o'clock this morning, and so that's going to make life a little hard in order to track, but at least we know if anything, we do find anything, it will be quite fresh and worth following. So we'll check along there, and then we'll just stop in at Buffelshoek Dam. One, because I want to go and see how much water is in the dam, and two, to see what little Hosanna has been up to during the course of the night and see if he's maybe tried to kill some of those Egyptian geese. I wouldn't be surprised this morning if we find an impala lamb, one, which I know is a big call, but I wouldn't be surprised that happens. And two, I wouldn't be surprised we find a dead impala or dead animals somewhere. A change in temperature and wind and rain like we had last night, often that cold shock factor can kill animals, particularly some of the animals that are in very weak condition at the moment. It's late winter, it's been very dry, there hasn't been much rain, and a lot of them are looking a little on the worse for wear side. And I believe yesterday I was talking to some of the other guides last night from Nkoro and Chitwa. They were telling me that they found 5 different impala carcasses yesterday, and most of them were pregnant females, and so it's pretty much, well, I think all of them were pregnant females, and obviously Tlalamba was also on a pregnant female. So I wonder if a lot of them are just dying from lack of body condition, as well as then obviously, you know, these changes in weather and things like that. So interesting, but let's see how it goes. Hopefully we'll come right. Now, I'm not sure what Sydney's plans are, but it might be worth checking more to the sort of west of where I am in case the lions are that side, but let's go find out exactly what his plans are for the morning.
A very good morning and welcome to the beginning of the morning safari. I am Sydney Niconico, and I'm traveling with Senzo, who is my camera operator. This morning we are going to be looking for the spotted cat. I'll be looking by the eastern side of the game reserve, and for in case if you need our attention, you can follow us on Twitter, hashtag SafariLive. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. Maybe we'll be lucky with Hosanna in the area here. So it looks like we have received some good rain last night. Oh, Tristan will be looking for Hosanna. We will be looking for... now it's difficult to tell, that was my plan, but I'll be looking for Tingana now. So the rain has just stopped less than an hour ago. It rained all night long. You can see there's a lot of water by the potholes here, right in front of me there. So animals don't mind drinking this water from the potholes. So now let's cross over to James by the Masai Mara for his departure at the moment. He's about to start a game drive.
Good morning, good morning. We find ourselves here in the Masai Mara with a very romantic dawn scene going up. Two giraffe who have obviously spent all night in the club have come out now into the wilderness to enjoy the morning together and contemplate the romance that was the evening before. My name is James Henry. It's lovely to have you with us. On camera today we have got Manu Akata. That's his shooting finger. Very nice. And we are sitting here in the Masai Mara, as I said, that is in Kenya. And we would love to hear from you, of course, using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter or the chat stream on YouTube. Let us go back to the romantic giraffe. There they are. It's a gorgeously quiet morning. Just a little breeze. And I mean, if that doesn't the most quintessentially romantic scene, I don't know what is. I suppose if you're a giraffe, romance can take the form of cud chewing. That's what's going on there. They're having some mutual cud chewing. How does your cud taste, George? Oh, Betty, my cud tastes delicious. What about yours? Oh, George, I love a bit of cud at dawn. It's almost like it's set up. It's ridiculous. Now we'll both have a little bit more cud. And yes, we were once accused of green screening our safaris. In other words, for those of you who don't know what that means, basically that we were faking it. So you put up a green screen on which you can project anything. And, well, if ever there was a case for green screening, I suppose this is it. So interestingly, these are alone out here. I don't see any others. Normally she would be in a visually connected group. He may be alone. But it would seem that the two of them, I'm pretty sure that this is, apart from being slightly facetious about it, that this is a romancing pair. I'm not sure that they've particularly necessarily picked this spot so that they can watch the sunrise together, but the fact that there aren't other giraffe around indicates that they are in the business of making more giraffe tipple skirchies. You can see why this place has been the subject of so many photographs, postcards, wildlife documentaries, holidays, and general sort of descriptions of the African wilderness. I mean, can you believe that? It's Wednesday morning and I'm at work. Yep, not too bad. Angela, I'm afraid your question is not coming through correctly. I got from Louise, question, Angela, does it serve? Angela. Try again, Louise. Ah, right. Okay, what is cud? Well, cud, Angela, is the half-chewed food of a ruminant. So much like a cow, a giraffe is a ruminant. In fact, it is the world's heaviest ruminant, if I'm not mistaken. What they do is they browse, in this case, so they'll go and find some bush or some trees, and they'll eat the leaves, half chew them, and swallow them into the first chamber of the stomach, which is known as the rumen. And then, when the rumen is full, they will come and stand in a position like this, or in some cases lie down. Certainly cows and buffalo and many of the antelope lie down. And then they regurgitate that food, the half-chewed food, up into their mouths, and that is known as the cud. And they re-chew the food, and then they swallow it down into the second, third, and fourth chambers of the stomach. And it's a very efficient way of digesting food that many herbivores have evolved. All the deer do it, all of the antelope do it, the giraffe, all of the, or most of the even-toed ungulates. So you can see there, Angela, what they're doing is they're chewing, but they're very obviously not picking anything new. And so that food comes from the rumen, which is the first chamber of the four-chambered stomach. And if you watch very carefully, once they've swallowed this lot, you'll actually be able to see them regurgitate up their long necks. And I always like to say, especially at this time of the day when it's morning and stomachs can be a little bit tender, a little bit sensitive, I'm so very glad that I don't have to chew the cud. Now watch the male on the left, Angela, watch his throat. See that? Did you see he had a little vomit into his own mouth there? Pretty disgusting, but they're pretty used to it. What a magical scene. You can hear a yellow-throated longclaw, I think it is, calling. Otherwise, very quiet. Our plan this morning, everyone, while we enjoy this scene, is to head down towards the south to see if we can't pick up on the Sausage Tree Pride again. We had the two cubs with them yesterday, and with Pat. Pat made his world premiere on a live show, well, a live terrestrial show that was, and he showed us them. We're going to try and find those. I have had the order from Louise, who's directing today, to link. To whom she wants me to link, I cannot tell.
I am still now trying to track here. Maybe we might be lucky with any of these cats here where I am at the moment, but so far it looks very quiet. Maybe it's because the rain, it was almost all night long. So these animals might be under the shelters, not on the roads yet. Joshua, mostly we do receive rain from now on. From October, end of October is when we start to receive rain, but good rains mostly in December. December, January is when it's raining a lot. But I've just went past the Treehouse Dam. It's still very dry, so it was not too much. Some of the areas here, they are still dry. So you can see there by that termite mound that not the whole termite mound is wet. You can see there's some white patches there showing that the rain, it didn't cover all the areas around that termite mound. So it was just drizzling all night long. It was not too much. So the ground is not completely wet at the moment. So we are still hoping for more. Just that on the road, because the surface is too hard, the infiltration of water takes time. So that's why we have got quite a lot of water on the road, but it's not as a result of any saturation at the moment. So this area is not yet saturated. Oh, the lion's calling.
They're here.
Oh, on this road, yeah, we might see the lions. The frogs are not coming, but I can hear there's a lion calling not very far away from me. Somewhere here, we saw it just now. Oh. Oh, that was a nice call to start the morning. So he's calling right here. There he is. You can see him on the road, yes. Now I can see a very big male on the road. Maybe it's one of the avokas. So let's hope it doesn't go away, because it's just very close to the border here. Look at that. So apologies for the pole. We still have got the roof at the moment here. Look at that. You can see that it's quite a very big male. Yeah, instead of going to the private, he's coming to our side, which is a good thing. Look at that. This male has just been roaring now. Maybe he's trying to advertise himself in this area. So now let's go to Tristan.
Well, we just had brief visual of the dogs, hyenas tearing after them, and so they seem as though they were having a huge fight. Now, where the dogs have gone, I don't know. The last time we saw them was just running straight south. Finding them now is going to be really tricky. They were nice and sitting on Buffelshoek Dam wall, and then the hyenas came running in and just chased them, but to catch up with them through this block, this is not going to be fun. This is really not easy to drive in here. There they are, right in front of us. I can see them now in front of us. All right. Let's just stop here before they run away again so we can actually see them. But it's our same two dogs that are calling. There they are there. You can see the one that is sitting behind it. Now, the other one will come into frame shortly, and off they go again. Now, we're going to try and keep up with them, but my feeling is that we'll never, not in this block in particular. But at least we've got some doggies around. Now Hosanna should be here somewhere as well, because we're at Buffelshoek Dam itself, and there's tracks also for this herd of buffalo coming this way. Hyenas look very full-bellied, so I wonder if the dogs didn't kill something here last night and the hyenas have robbed them, because the hyenas are big, and bellies are full. Oh, Seb, this is going to be very tricky. So Flat Earth, you say wow, dogs again, so cool. I know we are very spoiled that we're getting to see the dogs again, but like I say, the chances of us keeping up with them through this is going to be really very tricky. We're not going to have it easy at all. They move too fast. That's the problem for thickets like this one. So, you know, at least it's kind of somewhat wintry, so I can see what's going on, but I've already lost visual of them. They took off in a hurry. Seb, you see them anyway? Nothing. Let's try to see if we can just get through somewhere here. The problem is, like I say, having a roof and these thickets is going to make life very tricky. It's going to be one of those again, a brief view of these guys as they go. Now we're going to try and squeeze through here, see what we can get. While we do that, let's send you across to Sydney, and here's Mail Line.
So the lion just decided to go deep in the bushes. Now I am going to go back to the road where he's heading to. We might meet him at any time. He's a very shy lion. If it was not because of the roar this morning, we're not going to see him. I can see how he's doing his things. Maybe he's not alone. So he's running towards this side. So I'm going to have to be very careful here, because he's just matching the surrounding. I'm not seeing anything at the moment. MG, you are very lucky as we found the male lion this morning. Sure, it was going very fast. So I've got to turn back again and see, maybe when we are going up again we might meet him, because here now I cannot see any evidence. So he's still in the same block. He's still in the same block, so I'm gonna have to turn again here and go up. We might be lucky and meet him in this block. So now let's go to James, who's got the sunrise at the moment.
There is the sunrise of East Africa. And interestingly, we're about to be run over by a balloon safari's vehicle, so I'm going to have to move in the next 30 seconds, but just enjoy it while it lasts. There, isn't that gorgeous? Now that's, I would have thought, quite a long way north of east, but I suppose it must be pretty much due east. Okay, we're going to just have to move now, I'm afraid. There are some animals up ahead, so let's go towards them. I think they are zebras. We will be overtaken by this large balloon car. Oh, no, let's go back to Tristan. He's managed to refit his dogs.
Well, there they go. They're running away from us at a rate of knots once again. So they were right next to us, and they've now run, as you can see them bounding away through the thickets. Unfortunately, with wild dogs, you've got about a 5-second view, and then they're gone again. So and I don't know if we're going to catch up with them. We're definitely not going to catch up with them the way they've just gone now. That's going to be very, very tricky to get to where they are. So we're going to try and... How did we get in here, Seb? Oh, we went through there. So we're going to try and go back towards Buffelshoek Dam. They look like they're running back to the dam, so we might get them coming out in that vicinity again. It was a very brief view of them just running past us. They're calling, yes. Oh, it sounds like they're calling close to the dam itself. So let's try to get back to the dam and see what we can get. It's tricky in this area. I mean, the terrain is really not ideal to be off-roading and trying to follow wild dogs. This is very, very, very thick in here, and like I say, this is not really suited to fast off-road driving, which is what you'll need for this particular pairing of dogs. But the way that they're calling, it sounds like they've actually headed back to the dam itself. Careful, Seb, especially on your side. Ugh, thick in here is what it is. Now they are fairly mobile and running around, and they look super alert, as though they've seen something this morning. And I'm pretty sure they've interacted with Hosanna at some point, and with hyenas. There was hyenas everywhere. Hosanna would have been here. The hyenas look super full, and we even came across a bone that was on the road just now. So I wonder if they didn't kill something and they've had a bit of an altercation with hyenas. There the hyenas are now. You can see they're poking their heads up. They're covered in blood at the moment. So I think the dogs killed something else. Ow. Now killed something else in this particular area. You can see, look how full of blood they are. Let's just get onto the dam wall here and just see what's happening down below. Because when we got here, we just saw dogs and tried to follow them. Yes, there we go, big carcass. They've got another, is that a water buck that they've got down below there? So I'm pretty sure Hosanna will not be far away, but there is a water buck, so another one that they've managed to kill here at Buffelshoek Dam. So it's no wonder the dogs were around. I wonder if they were attracted by the commotion. There's hyenas. Pretty sure Hosanna will not be far. If there's a kill of this size and magnitude, we're going to be probably certain that they'll be able to find it. Now, these hyenas have obviously worked out a technique, because this is now the second water buck in 2 days at Buffelshoek Dam. I wonder if they've figured out how to hunt them in this particular area, but there's definitely a large meal there. And if Hosanna was patient and plays his cards right here, he could very well end up with a meal of his own, quite a substantial one if he's clever. So let's see how this works out and how it plays out. I wonder if the dogs might head back this way. They might do, and come into this area once again. But crazy that there's another water buck kill, and these hyenas have obviously somehow kind of positioned it. It's quite gory. I do apologize if you're squeamish. That is quite a mess inside there. But the water buck obviously is trying to seek refuge in the dam, and it's so shallow that the hyenas are able to kill them. Now, Mrs. Lapwing, you're saying you hope that Corky's been feeding. Well, we don't know. I mean, we saw 3 hyenas. They're all running off now. Every single one of them is running quite far away. So I don't know if they also shy. Who knows what else is here. Next thing, we might get male lions arriving. You never know what goes on in these things. Obviously, that carcass being out in the open like that, in weather like this, is going to stay quite fresh, but it also should attract 1 or 2 vultures. Now, the dogs are just here. Let's just go down the road a bit and see if maybe we can get them. They're off to our right-hand side. So they sound like they're towards Nyala Road. So let's leave that for now. There's no big predators that I can see here just yet. Pretty sure Hosanna must be around. There's another hyena running out of the bush now. Running down the road, following the dogs by the looks of things. This hyena. Everybody seems to be in full panic mode this morning and running around like hooligans. Is Hosanna in his tree? No, but there is still a bit of a carcass in there, so he must be here somewhere. We'll come back to that just now. Let's just see if we can get a view of these dogs. Pandemonium this morning, absolute chaos. And it just goes to show when you get these dry conditions and rainy, stormy nights. Now, they were calling from somewhere here. The problem is, as we know with wild dogs, is that they can move so fast that they could have run across the road already and be gone. Lindsay, the dogs are still in the area because they're looking for another member of the pack. So they're trying to find a third member. They're the Low Sabi breakaway dogs. So these are 2 females that were accompanied by a male, and I'm pretty sure they've lost the male and they're trying to find him. Or if they are not trying to find him, they're trying to attract other males to join them in order to form a pack. So that's why they're in this area. They're calling. Maybe this is the last area that they saw him or had other dogs, and so that's why they're making so much noise around this particular section. Oh, where are they? They were calling from here, but I don't see them now. Problem is they're calling, and then they'll run, and then they'll call, and then they'll run, and then they'll call. So it'll take them a while to call again if we've just heard it. So I think we need to just sit silently for a little bit and listen. Oof, they're far down the road already. So they're a long way down. I can hear them straight down this road. Quite a long way. James, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, why the male keeps separating from the females. It's happening a few times now. And does it mean that he'll separate permanently from them? James, I honestly don't know. I mean, obviously you know, the wild dogs are such a complicated structure and social dynamic within them that it's hard to know exactly. I mean, I don't know really why he keeps separating. Maybe it's because the females are a little tighter bond than what he is with them, and when they're hunting, the females stick much closer. I'm not sure, but also, you know, I honestly don't know why he keeps moving off and why I keep finding them kind of separated. But they should be right here. This is where they're calling from, is somewhere on this general vicinity. We obviously know that wild dogs can move pretty quickly when they want to, but let's see. Just trying to scan the bush for any signs of little white tails running around. That's the best way to be able to find wild dogs, is their tails give them away. So we're just looking and scanning as we go. Also got to make sure that I check the road, because it's times like this that there'll be a leopard or lions in the road that you just don't see until the last minute. So you've got to be a bit careful. No, I don't think we're going to catch these dogs at this stage. I think we've missed them somewhere here, unfortunately. Who's still trying to catch up with his lion.
So still no sign of this big male lion here. He just got disappeared in this block, and the tracks are not coming out yet. That's a very shy lion. So it doesn't look the same as the one I saw the day there was a drama by the hyena den. So this one, it looks very young compared to that one. And the color as well, this one is too milky bright. The other one who went to take away the food from the hyenas, it was much more dark. The lions, they do call in order to impress the females for mating purposes, and they call again as an act of territoriality. That is when he's trying to warn the others, this is my territory. If you come here, you will know me very well. Better stay outside there. So there was a jackal also in the very same block going deep in. You can see that jackal is also very shy. Animals from this block are very much shy. It just got disappeared like that. Bless you. Yeah, maybe we are going to see him again. So let's hope so. Joshua, I think this is big males. He is strong enough in order to dominate the females. So I hope we are going to see him again. You will see he's quite a very big male, and also the roar could tell that this lion is big. If the tracks are not coming out here, it means it's somewhere in the middle. But I've been in the middle of the block already, and I saw nothing there. So that lion in the grass at the moment, when the grass is wet, it looks. And there's no other animals here at all. It means his presence is threatening the other animal species here in the area. So now let's cross over to the Masai Mara and see what James is having at the moment.
Righty, we've come down almost into Sausage Tree Pride territory land, but we are not quite there yet, possibly Awino lands, but this is what they are eating, the animals at the moment. As if you look to our right, you can see a number of zebras. There they are. And now, we didn't really get a good chance to have a look yesterday, but we saw tens of thousands of wildebeest and zebra on the Tanzanian border and up north to the Salt Lick and north of the Salt Lick onto the original burnt area. So there is a lot of ungulate activity still here in the Mara. And that apparently, I'm told, is very unusual. Happened in 2015, but not before that in living memory. We've had this number of ungulates in the area this late, and that's very well kind of, I suppose, represented by the fact that there are almost no tourists here. It's a very quiet period for the Mara, and so we're having the place to ourselves, and a lot of people are not here because they don't expect there to be any herds. Haven't been any crossings, but there are certainly a lot of animals down to the south. And quite interestingly, you know, during the major migration period, the ubiquitous sound is that boom, 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 and the gnus gnawing at each other. But at the moment, there's so many zebra around that it's that, there you go, that mechanical sort of ambulance crossed with a donkey sound that permeates this magnificent landscape. Bit of anger there, bit of boxing going on. There are a lot of pregnant zebra around, and obviously in zebra society there must always be young stallions looking to try and find themselves some wives. That's probably what's going on there. And just in case you are perhaps not that familiar with zebra social structure, these great aggregations of zebra are made up of small kinship groups of a stallion, his wives and their offspring, and the number of wives that they have is normally sort of 2 to 4. Like that's probably a kinship group you're looking at there, and they aggregate together when they move, which is very good for the population because it means that the stallions can select new wives and the young stallions can move away from related zebra and chat up some young fillies, see if they want to join him. He's not particularly keen on finding out whether or not they want to join him, but I suppose they do have a certain amount of choice in the matter. Lot of early morning activity going on here. And that is the Olololo escarpment in the background. Look at that, isn't that fantastic? I think those communications from Louise said that a lot of you commenting on how beautiful it is. Yes, it absolutely is. I suspect that's a young stallion that you can see there causing trouble. The sound they make is just ridiculous. It's different from the one in South Africa, you know. In South Africa they do make that wah, 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 wah sound, but they don't have that kind of bray in the front. These guys have got that donkey-like bray. It doesn't sound like that. I won't try that again. It really does sound like an ambulance crossed with a donkey. Just a few birds calling in the grass. Some cisticolas. Very few rufous-napped larks this time round. On my current visit to the Masai Mara. All right, Manu, I think we should press on from here. We're going to carry on driving down the road. Christine, I do my best. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I'll give you more sound effects later on, if you like. Hopefully not ever an attempt at the zebra that we have here. And also on these little clearings there are quite a few Thompson's gazelles and what's the other gazelle we get here? The Grant's gazelle. And I think they're very special. So I'm going to try and find some of those while you go back to Buffelshoek Dam with Tristan, and I suspect he's looking for the, the little chief. Attempted goose murderer last night.
Yes, so he was an attempted goose murderer, and who knows what happened last night. When we left Buffelshoek Dam, the geese were still lying very close to the water with their little ones, and so I don't see any sign of them now, which I'm not surprised about, because this must have been pandemonium here last night. There must have been all kinds of things that happened with the waterbuck and wild dogs and hyenas and leopard, and it must have been quite a scene here last night. I think it must have been all over the place. Now, still no sign of Hosanna. We checked at his carcass. There's 2 legs that are hanging from a tree, but there's no sign of him himself. Now, Brent Leo Smith is calling me, and he's busy doing training this morning, so let's see what he's got. Yes, go ahead, Brent Leo Smith. No, Brent, they've run off. I don't know which. I mean, the last time we heard them was somewhere towards Quarry Pan. So he's just finding out about the wild dogs. I didn't hear it. What did you hear, sir?
Like a lion roar.
A lion roar. So Seb says he heard. I don't hear it, Seb. Okay, so there's lots going on around here, and I wouldn't be surprised if lions pitched up here too. It definitely could happen. I mean, it seems as though everybody's been to Buffelshoek Dam of late, and so I wonder. I'm surprised that Hosanna's not around closer. I would have thought he would have been watching this very closely and thinking to himself, how can I kind of participate in all of this? But at this stage, he's nowhere to be seen, and it could also be because of the wild dogs. Maybe the wild dogs and hyenas chased him and kind of positioned him in a different place, and he's just lying up, kind of hanging low, trying to stay out of the way of the general chaos that has ensued over the last little bit. But normally with him, he's kind of not far, and he's watching what's going on and trying to see if he can get in and actually steal some food. But like I say, no sign of him at this stage. It must have been incredible to watch this. If you actually look on the edge of the water between the 2 sort of pans, you can see where this waterbuck was running, and its scrape marks all along as it kind of came round towards where it is now and where it's been pulled down. So this must have been an epic battle between these 2 animals, or between the hyenas and these waterbuck, which... Whew, crazy. Can't imagine. Can hear the dogs calling again now. So Chitty Chatty Meg, the reason that the kill's probably in the water is that this waterbuck probably ran to water to defend itself, and they've then somehow managed to grab it and pull it down. Now, hyenas are not too worried about water, and so for them to feed in the water is absolutely fine. But the rest of things like leopard wouldn't really. So what's happened is the waterbuck's probably been killed. It's still quite a heavy carcass, and so it wouldn't have been able to be dragged as easily out of the water and kind of to the edge, and so that's why it's still there. It would have been quite nice if the hyenas were still around, because they would have waded in and fed and gone to town. This carcass is very, very fresh. I think this was killed in the early hours of this morning, so around, I reckon, 3, maybe 3. That was when it was really raining at its hardest, and it would have been difficult for animals to hear what was going on. So, feel like this was done during that rain period in the water. The hyenas probably grabbed it. This was the last resort for this water buck to be able to try and stand its ground, but because it's so shallow, the hyenas probably could wade in, and just sheer numbers was what would have done it for them. I don't think it was the wild dogs that brought this down. You can see there's no bite marks on the neck, which would have been if Hassan had killed it. So this was all the hyenas doing, and we know yesterday they killed a water buck in this exact same place, and I would imagine it was in the exact same fashion as to what they've done here. This is just a much bigger one, I think, than what they killed yesterday, and that's why there's so much more left of it still. Now, this is going to obviously attract the attention of many different animals. They can be lucky, all of them, that it's overcast today, so the vultures won't be flying as much as they normally do. Otherwise, I think we'd already be seeing vultures starting to land here, and that obviously attracts the attention of all kinds of other animals too. But I'm really surprised by the hyenas just leaving. I don't know why they just all scattered the way that they did. Maybe the commotion of wild dogs and the sort of us arriving, just they got a bit of a fright, and that's why they've kind of left the area. But they all were standing alert and looking very, very kind of nervous, and then they just bolted off into the bush and headed back to the west, back towards sort of den sites and those areas. I didn't get an idea as to who we saw. I just saw 3 different hyenas. I don't know who they all were. I didn't get a chance. The dogs are going far now. I can hear them way in the distance, sound like they're on Cheetah Cut line somewhere there. So I'll have to give Brent an update just now. Buffalo, if it rotted here for quite some time, yes, but I mean, this carcass, because of the conditions today, it's overcast, it's cloudy, it's not very hot. That carcass will stay quite fresh for quite a while, and obviously things like hyenas will pull this out and feed off it very, very quickly, and there'll be nothing left probably by tomorrow morning. So no, it wouldn't poison the water in that space of time. So, I think it will be fine for now. I mean, if it stayed in there and it just rotted away, it could potentially, particularly because it's a small amount of water, then maybe. But the conditions and the amount of predators here, it should be eaten and destroyed and pulled out before it does any damage to this particular water source. Right, now I'm going to try and figure out where I'm going to go from here. I'm going to maybe try and see if I can find Hosanna, because he must be here somewhere. And while I do that, though, let's send you back across to Sydney, who's trying to figure out where his male lion is.
I'm still in search of this big lion here. I just saw the tracks are just coming in and out. This lion is so very shy. I don't know what threatened this lion before we found him. So the tracks are just coming in and out. He is walking alongside this block now. So I'm going to do the next round of check. Maybe we might be lucky and see him coming out. It seems like it's a solitary male here, as there are no other tracks showing that it's a pride or a coalition. It's just a single track. Yeah, sometimes you can, but when it's a lot, it's difficult. So sometimes you can tell if it's two, but when it's more, it can be very difficult to distinguish. Now I think this lion is too shy. Maybe he's gone already. It trespassed to the other block, so I'm just going to check the next block, because the tracks are not very far away from the border. No, there's no sign of this lion at the moment here.
Yes, I can't run anyway.
So now, after the lion, I'm going to carry on looking for Tingana. So now let's cross over to the Masai Mara, where James is also searching something.
Righty, we have come down into Sausage Tree Lands and we are in a little forest. Well, we're just coming out of a little forest on a rocky prominence and we're heading down towards this river here where last they were seen yesterday. So, with any luck, we will be in luck shortly. It's a totally gorgeous area amongst, of course, many gorgeous areas of this area. I wish I knew more about the trees that are around here, but I'm afraid I don't. I've yet to meet anybody who does. A couple of figs and that sort of thing, but more specific than that I cannot be. Now, also seen here yesterday was a pangolin. Manu saw a pangolin, didn't you, Manu? It was very exciting. I wasn't on drive at the time. It would be nice to re-find the pangolin. Now we'll just have a little stop here. Look at these ambulance donkeys and yellow-billed oxpeckers just on the other side of that termite mound. Look at that. That's wonderful. Hello, chaps. And just like in South Africa, the termite mounds, of course, are the most nutritious parts of the atmosphere, the ecology in which to find yourself nutritious grass. The reason I became distracted there in the brain is that I heard some boo-boos calling, I think. Just looking for them with my binoculars. Perhaps I'm wrong. You can hear some lilac-breasted rollers going way up top, shouting at each other. Ooh, look on the carcass there. I don't know what those are. I'm afraid the comms were just too bad for me to get your question there. Those look like sparrows of some description, and they're sitting on a wildebeest which is dead. Quite dead. In fact, there's grass growing through it. Those are the most nondescript birds I've ever seen. And so I'm going to go with sparrow. Just keep looking at them. I will attempt to find them in my bird application. I'm sorry, Umka, I would love to give you an answer to your question. I'm sure it was a good one. But at this stage, simply not possible. It is not a rufous sparrow, house sparrow, smarly sparrow, no, chestnut sparrow, no, speckle-fronted, grey-headed, no, about 2 out of 5, Louise, I'm sorry about that. I actually don't think it is a sparrow. Its beak is not heavy enough. It is very interesting. I don't know what that is. Any ideas? I'd love to hear from you. Let's have another look. Sort of juvenile-ish looking birds. Distinctive call. Any ideas, Manu? Any bright ideas?
None.
They are quite the most nondescript birds ever. MGN, you also think that they are sparrows, but I've looked through all the sparrows, you know, and I can't find one that looks like that. So, I don't think they are sparrows. Unless they are juvenile grey-headeds or something like that, but I don't think so. So I'm afraid I don't know. They're just so completely without marking. Their beaks just don't look quite heavy enough. Anyway, I shall keep investigating. Let's move along. On we go. There are some babblers calling in there. Lots of nice babblers you get here, lots of nice barbets too. And if you want to go birding in an area like this, well, this will be perfect because the trees and the meeting place of tree and grass would be great. Ah, right, yes they do. Amur falcons do stop over in the Mara. We've seen a few Amur falcons, most of them unsurprisingly heading south. I suspect some of them hang around here for the whole year, you know, for the whole season. Now, was it along here, Manu? Further on that we had the sausage tree pride yesterday. So we shall keep looking. Another massive fig tree over there. That's a bit of a landmark. Which is a relatively good sign when you are looking for lions. Anyway, let's go back across to Tristain, who is looking for Hosanna, while I look for the lions.
Well, it seems like Hosanna is gone. There's nowhere that we can see him. Obviously, it's quite... If maybe maybe one of these skittish male leopards came through, you never know, and was involved in kind of being in this area, and maybe that's why Hosanna's run off. But I mean, I don't know, it's difficult because you can't see tracks of anything. It sounds like, you know, that there was a lot going on here, and because the rain fell, we can't really pick up any tracks of anything. So what we're doing is we're just doing some loops around. I just can't see him being far away. There's still some of his carcass in a tree. It's not much, granted. It's 2 legs and a spine that are in there, but it's still enough to keep Hosanna around. We know he's a little glutton and likes to kind of finish his kills. And then also, obviously, there's that waterbuck that's in the dam, and the chaos and noise of that must have attracted some attention, and I just don't see Hosanna leaving that area unless, of course, there was a major reason for him to do it. So, he could obviously be just lying right there in plain sight, and well, not plain sight, but in one of those thickets, and me just missing him. But basically what we're doing is we're just going to do loops around this dam for now, because something's got to come to that waterbuck at some point. Now, the last time you saw us, we were talking about, well, Seb said he had heard a lion. As we finished and kind of sent you off, we heard that lion again, and it sounded like it was calling, not a full-blooded call, almost like contact calls that it was making, and it sounded like somewhere around the Cheetah Cut Line, Buffelshoek boundary area. So we just kind of scratching around here. Maybe that's why the hyenas were a little nervous. They heard a male lion coming, or a lion in the area, and that's why they ran off. I don't know, but we're going to try and see what we can find. This is just a lot of potential for lots of interesting things, and as Seb said, it would have been amazing to have been there last night and see what actually unfolded in all of that. Incredible to kind of witness these kinds of things. Now, let's see, somebody out of their vehicle in front of us. Looks like our anti-poaching units in front, so they often are around and doing their thing. I wonder if they've seen anything. Tracks for a lion by the looks of things on the road here. Now, the anti-poaching units, they would have done patrols, and they'll be out patrolling quite regularly, and so you'll find, yes, there's tracks for a male lion going south here. Hold on, let's turn around, because these tracks are going the opposite way to those guys. So I wonder if this male, this must be the one we heard, Seb. Because this is not that far, and it's on top of the vehicle tracks at the moment. Now those guys have clearly just driven out of that area, so he must be here somewhere. Let's just check where they go from here. It looks like they continue straight. Now, I'm not sure if this is the same line that Sydney had or what the story is. Yeah, still going straight on top of rain, like I say, so it must be from fairly recently. Now, if this male lion is clever, he'll just walk to Buffelshoek Dam and he would have been in for an absolute treat. Now, let's just check. But we definitely heard it calling. You can see its tracks still going down the road, so it should be fairly easy to follow this. The tracks are obviously quite tricky to see in comparison to what cheetah cutline tracks normally are like. Normally on cheetah cutline you can see nice, clear, fresh signs, but this morning what you're looking for is just a kind of break in the track, and so you can kind of just see it moving along still in front of me. Problem is these guys have driven over this track by the looks of things. Still going southwards. I'll just keep going with it. I wonder where he is. We definitely heard it calling. Carol, yes, it is normal for lion coalitions to separate, travel by themselves, do their own thing. Happens quite regularly, and so you do see it happening, and you do see them doing it quite often. They often, what happens with coalitions is they dominate a big area, and therefore all of them are up to their own things. You know, some are going to be with females mating, others are going to be off marking territory, and so there's often a split. They generally come together on big carcasses, or if they hear other lions. There he is, he's running in front of us. Now, why is he running? That's the interesting thing. He's running, which lions generally don't run unless they are being chased by something or they are chasing after something. There he goes there, straight towards some impalas, but he's highly mobile. Interesting. All right, let's try and catch up with him. This roof is going to make this very difficult. This lion, for some reason, is moving quickly. Now, I believe... let's just try and see if we can get one more view of him. He's still kind of moving with serious purpose, and like I say, if Sydney's was also moving with serious purpose, there must be something that's going on out here. Male lions don't walk like this just for nothing. I'm pretty sure this is one of the evokers, one of the blonde ones, so we're going to try catch up with him before we lose him. Let's send you across to Sydney, who's at Twin Dams, I think, still looking for his lion.
So I am now heading towards the Vuyotela Pen area. Check this. I've just heard the wild dogs calling just now. Not very far away from where I am looking for the lion, the wild dogs started calling. So I am heading there now just to see if we cannot see the wild dogs this morning. So these wild dogs can be very much fast. So I've got to make it fast as well to get there. Otherwise, I won't get them. Yeah, and I can't even see the tracks on the road. These wild dogs, they are making noise while running in the blocks here. Yeah, coupled with excitement. So Oh, they must be somewhere near the Viotella guest house at the moment. Maybe they are doing some hunting here in this area. So the wild dogs, they travel in packs. Maybe it's a group of 4 or more. So now let's go to Tristan.
Drakensberg, Mamba. So this male lion is still mobile and moving very, very quickly. He's at least gotten onto the road, but there's something going on. Look at how he's got his nose to the ground. These guys are amped up for some reason. I wonder if they haven't picked up the smell of this Talamati male, and maybe this is what's causing a bit of chaos. But there he kind of goes. There's the impalas. So let's try keep up with him, because the way that he's going to walk, he's going to be moving very quickly. Sorry, Brenty, actually Battalier. Come on, Battalier. Oof, we're in the block now between the two. He's highly mobile, though. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep up with these guys. I don't know what's with all the animals this morning that they are so kind of amped up and skittish and shy. The hyenas ran, wild dogs ran, lion is highly mobile from both Sydney and myself. So, I mean, you can see he's almost trotting. He's walking so fast. So, I don't know what is causing these guys to have such a bee in their bonnets today. Maybe it's all linked. Maybe that's why the hyenas are running, is because they all say everybody was heading west. And so I wonder if that's the reason, is that for somehow, some way, there's a bit of a kind of debacle going on somewhere, and everybody's trying to run to get to that point. But he's definitely not walking like a male lion who's just ambling on a patrol. This is almost a run that's taking place here, and when lions do this, there's a reason for it. There's something going on that they move like this. The only thing is that he's completely quiet, so he's not roaring at all, not making any noise, which is interesting to me, because generally when lions are in a territorial dispute and they're fighting, they on a trail, they'll roar constantly to try and tell whoever that they're tracking down, we're coming. If you want to fight with us, then stay, but otherwise get out of here, because we don't want you here. So intriguing kind of behavior from these guys. Seb, are you ready to go through? Yeah, Seb's saying we should drop the roof and pick it up later, because it's going to be very tricky to follow this guy around through here. I know where we're heading as well. It's not going to get any easier anytime soon. So we're going to go through quite a lot of horrible places keeping up with him, but it's okay. We're going to employ the help of some of the other... No, he's running now again. We're trying to get through this. There's another lion. There's another lion. Okay, that's why he's running. So there's two of them are together. Sorry, Seb. Now it looks like there's lots of head rubbing going on. So these are the two, by the looks of things, Avoca boys coming together. Careful there, Seb. Oh. How they find each other in this kind of stuff. We haven't heard a single murmuring from either of them, yet they managed to kind of hear each other. Oh, goodness. There they go. I'm pretty sure it's the same two boys, or one of them is the same one that Sydney had. Look, there they go. They're running through. Poopy Pole is in the way again. Oh, okay, there it goes. But there the two of them are. Look, head rubs, greeting. Hello, boys. Why are you so panicked this morning? What is going on? Amazing that they find each other in all of this. All right, let's let them calm down a little bit. I don't want to move too much because they seem a bit kind of jumpy. I don't know why. I don't know what's caused this jumpy behavior, but while we kind of think how we're going to get through this nonsense that's in front of me, let's send you back across to James, who's still trying to search for his sausage tree pride.
How fascinating that's what's going on there at Juma. I'm afraid there's not quite as much fascinating going on here just yet, but we are still searching for the sausages. I just wanted to also comment, of course, on the fact that young Tlalamba made her first proper big kill that we know of yesterday. Of course, most of you know that, and how utterly amazing. Really very special. Manu, should we try down here? Are you happy to try down here? Manu, of course, has spent a lot of time down here with the Sausage Tree Pride, and so he's acting as tracker and cam-op and general entertainer. We'll pop down here and see what we can find in amongst the trees. There are no particularly alarmed-looking creatures around here. Lots of zebras on the horizon. No wildebeests, and none of the 3 serval we managed to find yesterday. So what we'll do is we'll pop around the corner here and then scan. This is how we find lions in this area. Yes, Susie, you say Tlalamba is growing up. She is indeed growing up. In fact, well, where's her mother? She may have been forced to just quickly grow up immediately. I don't mean that something bad has happened to Tundi, but maybe Tundi's just said it's time for you to leave home. I'm moving on, which is exactly around about this stage, of course, of Tamba's life that happened. Right, let's just go a little bit forward and we'll do a scan. Right, so now Manu will scan with his camera, and you will scan with your eyes, and I will scan with my binoculars. And often a scan like this will reveal a little serval or a cheetah. Sometimes, not often. Secretary bird, way in the distance, about 1 pixel in extent. Couple of topies and zebra, but no lions. Where have the sausages gone? Where? The search will not end though, everybody, don't worry. We will keep trying valiantly. I'm assuming you've had no luck there, Manu. There's a raptor coming in. You see it there, Manu? It's one of those harriers. It's got a white rump. Let me just quickly check which harrier it is. Harrier. I think what we're looking at there is a Montague's, a female or immature Montague's harrier, or an immature pallid. They've also got a white rump. Both of which are found here, of course. Let me look for a few more details. Oh, what is caching? You can see why they're called harriers. Yes, Lauren, raptors do have alarm calls like other birds, and in fact, it was the alarm call of a raptor that led us to the Oldonyo Payek Pride yesterday. We heard a raptor making an alarm call. It sounded like a Wahlberg's eagle to me, but I didn't see the Wahlbergs. It's a strident, kind of desperate whistle. Now, I can't pick out a great number of other distinguishing features on that bird. Let me keep looking while you keep watching it. It does have barring on the tail. They've both got barring on the tail. We're looking at an immature or a female pallid or Montague's harrier, and I'm afraid I don't know. Let me see if I can find in another app quickly. Harrier, pallid. This app's got better pictures, but it's normally only for Southern Africa. I don't think it's pallid. I think we're probably looking at a Montague's. White rump, hence collective name, ringtails given to the female pallid harrier. Let me just go to the Montague's. The Montague's has a much less distinct white rump, in fact. Okay, so let's go with pallid. Let's go with pallid. Yeah, I'm going to go with pallid harrier, but I could be wrong. Happy with that, Manu? You happy with my diagnosis there? Oh, good. What a relief. Okay, let's carry on. The search for the sausage continues. Now, apparently they've been spending most of their time around these riverbeds for the last couple of months. So hopefully we'll be lucky. While you go back to Sydney, who apparently is searching for something that Louise doesn't know what it is. Can be, shall.
All the best to James, who is also looking for some animals this morning. So here where I am, I don't have any tracks, but oh, look at that. I've got a big animal here next to Vuyotela, and it's just standing here. I'm going to show you now. A very big hippopotamus is here. No sign of the wild dogs yet. Also, their tracks are hiding. So there's a very big hippopotamus here. It's just standing under the trees. So this is a very big hippopotamus. Apologies for the pole. So you can see the hippopotamus is standing right there now. So which is quite a distance. The closest water hole here is Vuyotela Pen or the Galago Pen. So I don't think by those water holes he will be able to swim. He will be able to play nicely in water. So hippopotamus can travel long distances. You can see they can take up to 15 to 30 kilometers every night according to the food availability. These animals are grazers, and now when there is a shortage of food, they must have to travel very long distance, more than expected. I think I can hear these dogs calling from here. Sandy, this hippo maybe knows very well that the Vuyotela Pen is too busy. That's why he is not lying down there. So now I can hear the wild dogs. I just want to quickly do a follow-up. I can hear them towards the Galago Pen area. So I'm just going to quickly go to that area. Maybe we might be lucky. So now let's see Tristan and the lions.
Well, we're trying to... I don't know what's going on here, but these lions are not at all happy about something. So the one is fine. The other one is growling. He's not enjoying the company of anybody, even his other lion friend. He's kind of pushed him away as well. So I don't know what his story is and why he's so upset about life. They're off to my left-hand side at the moment. Tricky to see them, but they are there. Just maybe get a view of them through the thickets moving away from us, and we're hoping that they're going to lie down. If they can lie down, then we'll be all right. But there you go, you can just see them straight through. Seb, there we go. So there's one of them. I don't know where the other one is gone, but it's the darker maned of the two that is being very, very, very elusive and shy, and like I say, he's growling at the other one, and he's just not seemingly interested in being around anything right now. Now, they look like the evokers to me. I assume that they're the evokers, but the behavior is not of the evokers. The evoker males, okay, they're going to lie down there. Let's see. I don't want to push them too much and try and kind of get too close while this male is in the state that he's in. I'm trying to see if there's maybe an area that we can get a maybe slightly better view of what's going on. Starting to groom themselves and starting to sort of settle down. The other one I think is also not far from there. It must be somewhere in that little thicket. So we're going to just try and see if we can just get slightly better place. Chitty Chatty Meg, I suppose it's possible, but I don't know. If they were here, we would probably hear them, if I'm honest. But we haven't, so there hasn't been much roaring this morning, considering the fact that there's 2 male lions. Now, I'm nervous to go any further because I'm worried this other male is just going to get up and go again. The problem is that if they just come and lay in a fairly open spot, we would have parked a long way away. The thing is as you can see, there's just so many thickets here, and with the roof we make so much noise. So I don't know if it's maybe that's causing them to be a little bit shy, but generally the evokers are okay. They're not normally like this. I certainly have never seen them like this. The one that was kind of at the den the other day, if it is him, which I assume because of the darkness of the mane, looks very similar. He was not at all like that, and so what's causing him to be panicky, I'm not quite sure. So I think it's this one here that's the shy one. I don't know where the blonder of the two is. He's around, but I mean, I would assume that they're the evokers. I obviously don't know them well enough. There are times that I've seen the evoker male lions. I think I've only seen all 3 together once, and then seen one of them the other day with Tingana, and that is the sum total of my viewings of evoker males. So I can't tell who they are, to be honest with you, and they could be different males, new males that are in the area, but either way, they are quite shy. And so what we're going to do is we're going to sit here with this horrible view that we've got, and we're going to sit turned off for a while, and we're going to let them start to sleep and to relax a little bit, and then we'll move 5 meters closer, and eventually we'll get our way somewhere to where we can see them slightly better than what we have right now. And hopefully by then they will have relaxed with the fact that we're in this area, that we're talking, that the vehicle is moving, and that we're not doing anything untoward to them. But the behavior of these males is strange, because this is normally males that, when you see this kind of thing, in my past experience, has been males that have been very, very, very unused to vehicles. They've come out of the Kruger, they are new to an area, they're shy, and that's why they run around like that. But I mean, I don't know, maybe he's just having a bad day. Who knows what's going on? You never know also what's happened with the Nkuhuma pride. Maybe the Nkuhumas gave them an absolute hiding last night, one of these males, and he's being a little bit kind of shy. I don't know, but either way, it's incredible to me that these lions find each other the way that they did. I mean, we literally were in the middle of a block, and we were able to find one another. Well, we weren't, they were. You know, their senses must be far better than what we are. We didn't hear the male call at all, yet he walked straight towards the other one, which is pretty interesting. Seb, that clicking sound. Now, I believe a lot of you also in the same boat that I'm in, is that you don't know whether or not these are the evokers and undecided. I have no idea. Like I say, I'm pretty unsure myself, so you never really know with male lions until you get a really good view of them. I also don't really know the identifying features other than the one that limps, what the other evokers look like, or even are supposed to look like. So, yes, I wouldn't be a good one to judge whether or not these are our evoker males. Like I say, I haven't seen them much, but that male right there is not a male that is very relaxed at all. It's got quite a stare on him. Behavior suggests it's not the evokers. Like I say, I mean, the evoker males are not unrelaxed lions as far as I know. I mean, we've seen them, I've seen the time that I did see all three, they lay around the car like house cats. And so the behavior that we've seen this morning is of lions that have come from an area that don't know vehicles very well at all. I wonder if these guys haven't somehow emerged from somewhere to our north, maybe open area, or just inside of the Kruger, and they've somehow kind of come through and everyone keeps confusing them for the evokers. I don't know, but interesting, intriguing behavior, that's for sure. It's been chaos this morning in many respects. We've had animals going all over the place, and luckily we trusted our gut to some degrees to go kind of check cheetah cut line and just see whether or not this male was roaring around there, that we could find him, and luckily we got a view. But interesting, the running behavior is what makes it intriguing in many respects. Now he's grooming himself to settle down, which is good news. So I'm hoping if I just kind of, like I say earlier, just slowly approach a little bit further, and as soon as he kind of pops his head up, just stop straight away. That should hopefully allow us to get to a point where we can get a much clearer kind of view on him. What's been interesting is when we've been following the two of them, and we follow them through some pretty nasty stuff, is that the blonde male is super relaxed, and this guy is fine if he's behind something. If he's out in the open, doesn't like it. So if you can see a direct line to him and there's no bush in front of him, then he just trots away. But as soon as he's behind a bush, then he seems to relax quite a bit and lie down. So it's a strange kind of behavior to have seen. And like I say, all the times that I've seen this is from lions that are new to an area, that are from places that are not the Sabi Sands or anywhere like that, that haven't dealt with many vehicles off-roading. That's when you start to see skittish lions running around. So who knows? I suppose, like I say, it could just be a bad day for one of the evokers and he's just not in the mood. I suppose that is possible, but I somehow doubt it. Let's see though what they end up doing. There's definitely just the one that is bad. The other one doesn't seem to worry too much at all. Let's see where they go. He's still watching us. Even though he's groomed himself, he's still looking at us through the gap. Now, we're going to sit here with these guys. We're going to find out where they go. If they head north, they might head towards that waterbuck hill. And so while we wait for that, let's send you across to Sydney and find out if he's had any luck with the dogs around Gallagher.
No luck with the dogs yet. However, I have seen that the impalas are very much concerned here in the area. They are all looking at this direction. So I'm trying to check here where exactly these impalas are looking. Maybe that is where these wild dogs are. So they are concerned looking at this side. And let me just try to pick up an audio again. It's very quiet at the moment. So I can't hear any calls from these beautiful dogs. The dogs can go for quite a few kilometers without stopping, because that is their hunting strategy. They chase an animal until it gets tired. So they can travel long distance. Not too sure. I'm not sure in terms of the exact number of kilometers, but they can go long distances. They are well adapted to run long distances. So their hunting strategies is part of the pursuit predation, where these animals chase and catch a fleeing prey. So them and the hyenas, they only got one strategy of chasing an animal until it's tired. The wild dogs, you can find them a lot, and these wild dogs, they are led by an alpha male and female who are responsible to mate. So in a pack you can find a lot. So now I am back at the quarantine area, which is where the calls were coming from earlier, but I can't see their tracks here. Only the impalas are watching and they are looking at these areas. Maybe we might be lucky and find the tracks here. Wild dogs, they can go very fast. So I'm gonna have to follow up on Viotella access to go towards the main gate. So the calls were just everywhere. So now let's cross over to James by the Masai Mara and see if he is lucky at the moment.
Righty, we've come to another area and we're going to do a long scan from here. We're apparently about 6 kilometers from the what do they call it? Ngiro Are guard post, which is on the border. But as the crow flies, we're much closer to the Tanzanian border than that. We're into the realm of the Oldonyo Payek pride now. We're parallel with where we saw them yesterday. So far, we've had not hide nor hair of a lion. We've seen a couple of giraffes, one or two antilopes, but of lions there has been a scanty sign. Manu, I might be being extremely ambitious here, but may I ask that you look under that fig tree over there, just to the left. Is that a piece of the root or is it a lion's head? No, really that one, yes. Is that all we got? Are we at full zoom? Oh, phew. Just to the left, there. I think that's a lion. I'm going to go just do this. Good, okay. That's a long way away. Thank goodness for these binoculars. Okay. Really well done, Manu, Louise. Manu didn't find that, I found it. My first lion. Manu's found all the others, and this one's mine. Ah. Can't even get credit when... Louise, I'm afraid I cannot hear you anymore. We've lost your comms. Never mind. It's about a 4-day trek across to that fig tree. I'm joking, it's not really going to take 4 days. We'll be there shortly. I've just got to try and find a way off-road here. And then we will be with the lion. I wonder which lion it is. I was unable to identify which lion it was from that distance. Or about, what, 300 meters? 1,000 feet? Interestingly, we've just come on a road that went straight past that tree. Well, not quite straight past, but certainly if we'd scanned when we were closer by, I think we'd have seen it. So often your heart gives a little jump when you see something like that, and then you're disappointed because it's a bit of kind of log. But this one is definitely a lion. It's stood up. I've seen that. And there's certainly a cat. I'm assuming it's a lion. Either that or a massive leopard. Or a jaguar. I'm joking. Couldn't be a jaguar. We don't find them here. Hooray. Yes, it's starting to look even more leonine as we approach. We're now about, I'm going to say 250 meters from it. As I can see it now, it's looking at us. It's sitting up as opposed to lying down. Now, if it is one of the Eldonio Payeks, we're going to have to approach with relative caution because they are a little nervy. But if it's a sausage, we'll be able to park pretty much on top of it. So let's approach. And I don't know the territories particularly well. MK, you say Brent would have been there by now. Yes, he probably would have. Unfortunately, what would not have been here would have been various nuts, bolts, probably a diff and maybe one of the wheels from the car. They would have been behind. But yes, you're right, Brent would have been here. There are 4 lions so far. This is marvelous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. Sausage. They're not looking vaguely worried about us, so I think we have got sausage. Hello, sausages. Good morning. Nice to see you. Are you impressed that I found you? Yes, you should be, because you hide it from me. Yes, you did. You hide it from me. Good morning. It's only because that one stuck its head up that we managed to see it. Yes, these are the sausages. They look a bit depressed, but they do look like they've eaten. Well, the two lying on the tree look like they've eaten. That's magic. They look so comfy, so satisfied. And I think the one that's looking up now, that one that you can see there, I think that's the pregnant one. She's so heavy about the midriff. Ah, they're looking at some buffalo. Buffalo a long way from here. But they haven't seen the sausages. I think they probably ate something small yesterday evening. They're quite a long way from where they were with the cubs. Beautiful. Yes, thank you. Riandi, you say nice find from me and a great shot from Manu. Yes, absolutely. Manu's not a moron behind the camera. He's quite impressive, actually. He's not what one might describe as an incompetent. Fortunately, I think any hunting activities are probably done with, but they could easily get up and go off and find the cubs. Yeah, they do rather, Tracy. You say a load of teenagers after a big night out. They do look a little bit like that. I agree. I think they probably have had a girls' night out. Let's hope there wasn't too much heavy drinking if one of them's pregnant. She was probably the driver. Alrighty, well, unlike these ones, Tristan's lion is a little bit skitty.
Skitty, maybe not. Skittish, yes. This particular male is fine. This is the blonder of the two, and he's the one we first saw and followed and was okay. You can see the dark one is the one that's walking off now. He's decided he's not dealing with us at all. Now, I mean, his behavior is ridiculous. Every single time we are in a place where he can see us, he doesn't like it and he moves away. If he sits still, there you go, the blonde one is now moving, following him, and it seems the blonde one is the one that always follows. Like I say, I mean, I have no idea who they are. You guys will probably be better suited and equipped to tell me if these are the evokers or not, but the behavior suggests that these are males that do not like cars at all. I mean, I honestly, the behavior that I've seen here today is of lions that are nervous. Right, now, of course, they sat still the whole time you've been away, and we've watched both of them for quite some time. But, of course, now, as we want to show you both of them, they then get up and move. It's always like this, isn't it? When you've got lions around, they do these kind of things. So what I'm going to try and do is just try and see. So I believe you guys are like us as well, in that you're uncertain as to who exactly is who, and whether or not these guys are part of the evokers or if they are now just another random bunch of lions that has come through. Obviously these things do happen, and we do get random lions that come through. You never know out here what you're going to find, and so it's possible that we've got some lions that are new to the area. What's interesting is just the way that they've moved is so unlike lions that have seen people. I mean, it's just the male is constantly, the darker maned of the two is constantly upset by it. Now, Seb is saying that they're moving away from us still. So they're moving towards a road, which is quite nice. So what I'm hoping is that they'll go to the road. Trying to take the easiest route through so as not to make so much noise, but there really isn't a way to do it. Can you still see them, Seb?
Yeah.
Straight through. 9 o'clock, okay. Let's try and see. Maybe they'll lie up close to the road. Ideally, I'd want them to lie close to the road, and then I can just be on the road and I don't have to crash through here. And that will make things a lot easier for all of us. I mean, they will have a much easier time of it, we'll have a much easier time of it, and it'll be a lot quieter for everybody involved. So I'm hoping that...
Wow. So now we are checking this triple M. Maybe we might be lucky and come across these animals coming from this block to my side. So these animals don't want to walk on the road today. So we are just hearing the calls, and the calls are coming from the bushes, but when checking all these roads, there are no tracks. But we can hear the calls. Maybe those wild dogs are heading much more towards this triple M. So this is my last hope for the wild dogs. So it's very windy at the moment here where I am, so I cannot hear very well from far. So I'm going to go back again to the Vuyotela access, as maybe we might be lucky with the tracks on that road. So no sign of these dogs crossing the road here. So now let's go to James.
Now we're sitting with the lions. As you can see, we haven't moved a great deal. We're just trying to get a slightly better picture of them because they are in this deep shade. And it's astonishing up here how different the contrast is. The sun is so much brighter. And so although, I mean, they're in the light because it's daytime, the difference between the shade and the light outside the shade is just astonishing. So it's quite difficult to get a kind of pretty picture of the lions. But we will endeavour, we will try, we will keep doing our best. At least there are some dappled light, some of them a little bit. There we go. Now they haven't looked like moving or going towards the cubs, so we'll sit here for a little bit longer, I think, and wait and see if something approaches them, perhaps. I would like to see those cubs again, if possible. I'm also quite interested that they are lying as they are in the shade because it's not very warm yet. And I'd have expected that they'd quite like to spend some time in the sun, which would obviously be much better for us and for you. Cheeky mongoose, it really depends on who you talk to and which biologist happens to be in charge of the taxonomy at the time, but some people will tell you that this is a different subspecies of lion from the one that is at Djuma. Some will say no, they are not genetically distinct enough for that to be a qualification. But what is interesting is that there's definitely a separation, and I've spoken about this before. When you have a population that is split, it's cut in half or cut into many pieces by the existence of human beings. So we've put up fences around the parks, we put up our settlements, we put up borders, we've just occupied land basically between here and other lion populations. It means that obviously the genetics in one population are not flowing through to the genetics of another. So for the last, let's say, I'm going to say 100 years or so, maybe 200 years, somewhere between there, we've had no genetic flow between the lions of southern Africa and the lions of East Africa. Now that means that eventually the populations are going to diverge. They are going to become distinct because they live in completely different habitats, and so they're going to live in, one population is going to develop in a way that is more advantageous to its particular area and the other to its particular area. Now that doesn't mean that they're going to become different species, probably almost certainly not in our lifetimes. Maybe in 1,000 years or so they might become different species, but it's unlikely that they will become that distinct that they wouldn't be able to interbreed with each other. But certainly there are differences, and I mean there are just morphological differences. You can see that the lions here have got bigger ears than the ones down in the south. I'd say they're slightly shorter and stockier than the lions of the Sabi Sands, so that there are definitely differences. But whether those are enough for them to be qualified as different subspecies, I think is probably up for quite a lot of debate. Now, I say that this evolutionary process happens very slowly, I think it would happen slowly here because the pressures on the lions here are the same as they have been for, well, thousands of years, basically. And so I don't think that the pressures are that different from the ones in the Kruger. They are slightly different. If, however, there was to be a major change in the landscape here for whatever reason, evolution can actually happen a lot faster than we have traditionally thought. And we've seen that in cities where animals have evolved into completely different species, from their country counterparts. So they move into the cities. Animals like crows, for example, Indian house crows, are almost distinct from the ones that live in the wild, and many taxonomists are calling them, certainly if not different species around the place, verging on diverging to different species. That's genetically distinct, and that's happened within the last 150 years, I suppose. But that's because the habitats of cities versus country crows are so very different. But that's not the case here with the lions. So yes, they do look a bit different. Yes, they might be classified as different subspecies depending on who you talk to. But no, they are certainly not different species, and they could most certainly interbreed with the lions of the Kruger and produce viable offspring. It'd be very interesting to see the Nkuhuma pride come into this area. I think they'd be astounded. We've got a lion's face in the sun, Manu. Quickly, take advantage. I haven't even bothered to lift my camera because the contrast is so poor. Well, so great actually. So high. No, they're not completely asleep. You can see they're looking around. Some beefies slowly grazing slowly towards us. The sun is creeping around this tree, thankfully. But I think the chances of action here are fairly small. They did a very poor performance, the Sausage Tree Pride, for our TV show on Sunday. Horrendous effort. 3 of them lay flat in the grass, fully aware that we were using infrared and therefore that they would be almost invisible. So I'm hoping that they will attempt a better effort this week if we come down here. We might go and sit with the North Clan instead, though. The Vov will be returning today to the Mara, and so perhaps for our TV show we'll have Vov and me and lions and hyenas. I can hear some baboons screaming at each other way up on the mountains. Patrick, this is what I got from your comment or question. So, no, I don't really know how to answer that. It's a good question, but it's not something that I'm able to elucidate with my current language skills. Oh, Patrick, you say, who is watching the cubs now? Well, clearly no one. They're watching each other. And that's not unusual for lions. It's very common indeed. They are more than happy to leave their youngsters. There is Kinky Tail. Hello, my dear. You've also got a bit of a floppy ear, haven't you? Yes, into the sun you go. Yes. Good. Well done. Thank you. That's much better. I think we'll probably move now. So, I mean, lion cubs live on their own when their parents go off hunting or when their mothers and aunts go off hunting, and that's what's happened. They're probably exactly where they were yesterday evening when Pat left them. Now, shall I just reverse slightly? We might get a nice picture of King Kai tail, aka flop eye ear. That's a bit better, hey Manu? At least it's a lion in the sun. Beneath this magnificent fig tree. I think she was getting a little chilly was our kinky tail. Not surprising. The wind is a little chilly today. Holly was just saying to me that he really cannot understand the weather in Kenya. He finds it utterly bizarre because it clouds over 1 second, then it goes away, and then it's hot, and then it's cold, and the wind starts, and then the wind goes. And he finds it very disconcerting, and the consistency of the weather where he's from. Yes, come to the sun. It's nice here. Kenya Quad, the age of this fig tree, I'm afraid, is impossible for me to discern because I do not know the growth rate of fig trees. I am unable to cut it down and count the rings, so I'll just have to guess and say, you know, I don't know how fast they grow either. I don't think they're very fast growers, so I'm going to say probably 200 years or so. Maybe 200 years. There are quite a few of these around the Mara. These big things that stand off on their own. Fascinating. All pollinated by wasps, if I'm not mistaken. And each fig tree has its own wasp species that pollinates it. And the wasp species that is designated by evolution to this fig tree cannot pollinate another fig tree. It is a lock and key situation. And if I'm not mistaken, the female never leaves the fig in which she's born. I think that's how it works. I always get it slightly wrong. The male flies in, finds her, they mate, and then he flies off and she lays her eggs in the fig. I don't know how they get from one fig to the other though. Maybe it's the male that never leaves. It's probably the male that never leaves and then the female flies off and lays her eggs in another fig. I'm sure that's what happens actually. One day my small brain will hopefully be able to remember. Okay, let's go back to somebody, Sydney or Tristan, who's left their skittish lions. I will stay here with the sausages.
Well, yes, James. Unfortunately, it wasn't that we wanted to leave our skittish lions. Our skittish lions left us, and they decided they were going to go away. Now, I believe a lot of you are saying that it is the evokers. Well, if it is them, I don't know what's gotten into that one and why he is being the way he is. Maybe the roof, maybe just having a bad day, who knows. But interesting. It's very shy behavior. I mean, I haven't seen male lions behave like that in a long, long time. And given that somebody's been here. Must be hyenas that have been here, Seb, because somebody's been at the waterbuck carcass and pulled it out of the water and eaten quite a bit of it. Hyenas or leopard? Hyenas, I'm going to go with. Although hyenas don't normally drag things out, but where have they gone? It's like everything today just wants to be skittish. It's ridiculous. There's a bit of a heart. It looks like the heart or lungs that we've got here. Let's have a look what we have. Yes, it looks like a lung that we've got there. So there is the lung that is looking rather pink against a very dry earth at the moment. So that's there. Now, I don't know what is going on. Every time we leave here, something's been, but every time we come back, everything's gone. So, yes, very tasty. Bit of breakfast. Louise, would you like this for your morning breakfast? I can bring it back for you should you want it. Speak now, though, or forever hold your peace, as they say. Only if I saute with some mushies for you. Yeah, well, no problem. I don't mind if you have the mushrooms, as long as I don't have to eat them. I'm quite happy for you to have them. It's obviously not my cup of tea, a mushroom. I don't like them at all, and so I don't want them. And you are welcome, Louise. You are welcome to have them, Louise. Now, I wonder who's pulled this out. if it was hyenas or if it was somebody else that was here. I wonder, I have a sneaky suspicion that there is a skittish leopard here. I don't know why I've got this feeling, I just do. With Hosanna not being here, and there's no doubt in my mind Hosanna would have been here had there not been something that's pushed him away. And the way that that's been dragged out, and the fact that we keep coming here and there's nothing, hyenas, if they were here and they had dragged it out, they would be lying and sleeping next to it. They wouldn't really have moved off. I have a funny feeling that we, as we're arriving, are causing a leopard to move off here. I'm going to confirm it by going down there and going and looking at tracks shortly, but I'm pretty sure that there is something that is moving around here that doesn't want to be seen at all. And there could be a number of different animals. That could be Mufakazi could be here, there could be Kajima, there could be anybody really around this area. And so I want to just double check down there if there's tracks for a leopard or if this is only hyenas, because I find it very odd that we've arrived here and it's out the water. It's been fed on, but it hasn't been moved very far. And, you know, with hyenas, like I say, they would have been just lying here. They wouldn't have moved off. So there we go. Somebody has just seen, well, Kirsty apparently has just seen Hosanna near camp. So he's not here. So that would explain why we're not seeing him. But again, he's got meat in a tree. Why would he abandon it unless another leopard moved through here? So maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm just theorizing what I think. I mean, I could be completely wrong. It could be it's just that we missed a hyena and it was here and it's fed and it's now gone. But I have a sneaky suspicion that there is something else that is in this area. Hosanna, I just don't believe, would have abandoned that carcass up in the tree as well as not been around the commotion that has taken place here. He's too much of a leopard that likes food to miss out on an opportunity like this. So I'm intrigued. Also, the fact that the waterbuck was dragged out of the water. With hyenas, you'll find they'll just eat it in the water. They don't really care. So I'm thinking that there is another individual here now. It must be very shy if it hears us coming and it moves off. The problem is that it's very tricky to actually see tracks this morning. Down there below will be okay because it's so churned up by the hyenas moving around and wild dogs and everything else that was here that I should be able to see nice fresh tracks just now if I walk down there and go and have a little look, which we will do just now. But I'm scanning everywhere along the banks here just to see if there's maybe something moving around, just in case there could potentially be a leopard in this general vicinity, but alas, no luck. The two male lions are also moving in this direction too, so it's part of the reason why we came back is that they crossed the drainage line north of Central Mobile North, and so this would be an area that they would end up coming. So it was here during the course of the morning, and we just sit and we take it easy. We might get lucky. There's a very strong stench of rotting meat in the air from Hosanna's carcass. You can even smell it from here where we are now, and so I'm pretty sure between that and this we might start to attract a bit of attention, and things like those male lions might move in. So it's going to be worth sitting here. It might be a quiet, slow kind of morning to sit and wait for anything to come into this area, but I mean, we've had such an epic sort of day anyway already that I feel like being patient and waiting might reward us. And if it is a skittish animal, us driving around and around is just going to make things worse. So if there is a skittish leopard around, if we just sit tight, you never know. We might get lucky and we might get some sort of view of whoever has been hanging around here. Now, you know, it's unsubstantiated, obviously, but the behavior of Hosanna doesn't make sense to me. We know he's good with food, and we know that he normally eats every last morsel, and so it just doesn't seem right that he would have moved off as far as Gallagher. Right, now apparently I'm going to quickly send you across to Sydney with Tingana.
Look at that. You can see now I've got the Duke of Djuma Tingana, who is now up to something. I'm not too sure what this Tingana is looking at the moment, because I can see that he is concentrating. Look at that. Now he's quickly running. I'm just going to quickly reverse here so that we can have a better sighting. Let's see where this Tingana is going to lead us to. Maybe things are happening somewhere here. So I can see that he is looking at that side. So maybe and his stomach is full. His stomach is full at the moment, so he was probably feeding somewhere. So we're just going to keep following and see if he is going to lead us to somewhere. So let me just pull forward. He's looking very healthy. This is quite a beautiful cat. So maybe he's going to the Galago pen. President Tingana is awesome. Look at that. So he might have been patrolling his territory. Maybe that's why we didn't see him yesterday. But now he's going somewhere underneath the... Let me just pull further so that we can see, because I can see he's now underneath the branches there. Maybe he's got something where he's there at the moment. So I'm just going to get there now. He's just lying down there. When I'm looking at him, I can tell that he is up to something. So you can see how well he's camouflaged there. Maybe he's up to something here. I will have to check what is happening in the surrounding, because Tingana and Hosana, they're always close to each other. He's listening and he's concentrating to what is happening here. Maybe something is going on. His movement when we got to him was too fast, and he was hiding as if there is another leopard here in the area. I am convinced enough that another leopard might be in the area here. He's moving now. So I'm just gonna free wheel and see if we can have a better sighting again. So it's time to relax now by Tingana. We are going to have a good sighting from here. So you can see that Tingana is well fed. So I haven't seen him for 2 days now. The last time I saw him is the day I got stuck as I was following him by the artifact holes. Yeah, that is true. All these animals today, they are behaving otherwise. So unexpectedly I found him, because the tracks, I never saw his tracks this morning. But looking at his bellies, you can see that it's full. It means yesterday he was having a kill somewhere. A big cat. He's got a very unique eyes. This cat is so lovely. See, it looks like he wants to go somewhere. So I'm just going to check around here where his focus is and see if there is no other leopards here, because how he's checking and how he was hiding when he was approaching, it told me that there is something happening here. So the weather is favorable for the activities of the leopards and other cats this morning. So it's overcast and it's nice and cold. It's good for hunting because everything is wet. They won't make any noise when they are walking in between the grasses and the leaves. So now let's go to Tristan.
Well, interesting, isn't it, that there's both of them that side? I mean, I suppose it was bound to happen. If Hosana got away scot-free with an impala kill for a few days, he was going to eventually end up catching up with Dad, and I wonder if Dad will probably, I'm sure Dad will drag it out of wherever it is and kind of go and hoist it somewhere else. But we went and had a look at the carcass. It's definitely no sign of a leopard, so hyenas dragged it out, which is intriguing to me. I am very, very surprised that there's not a single hyena that is lying down, sleeping, relaxing near that carcass. I would have thought, even if they had eaten themselves stupid, that they wouldn't have moved off. I would have thought that they were going to just sit and land. Now, is that the first vulture that's coming our way? We'll have to go and check. So we're just doing a loop round at the moment, and the reason why I'm doing a loop is because I'm hoping that by the time I get round Cheetah Cut Line and come up Quarry Pan Road, that maybe the two Avoca boys have arrived back. So but I'm still shocked that Hosana's not here. I honestly believed he would still be here if he had those, you know, there's still a bit of the carcass in the tree, and there's that huge water buck kill. So it's really quite intriguing, all of this. Now I'm going to kind of carry on around this area and just check. I'm sure that there's going to be something that's going to arrive back at this kill at some point, even if it's vultures or hyenas. I think it'll just be interesting just to watch. So I'm gonna go and just chill out there. No sign of our Egyptian geese chicks. There were some lapwings that were going absolutely crazy, so I think that some of the lapwings might have eggs or chicks there as well, because they're also going very, very, very crazy at the moment. So I wonder if they've got little ones, but the Egyptian geese chicks are nowhere to be found. I wonder if the parents have not marched them off to somewhere else, given the current climate around Buffelshoek Dam has not been a very safe one, with hyenas, wild dogs, and Hosana. Right, now I'm still also a bit at a loss for words from this male lion's behavior. I don't understand why he would be like this. I mean, I know that apparently he's done it before, but that level of skittishness is ridiculous. So we saw them from one point, it was, I don't even know, it's 100 meters, and he was just moving. He was just not interested in seeing us at all. So part of the reason why I also left him is that's just no point in pressurizing him, because all we're doing is making him worse with vehicles. So if he's not in the mood and doesn't want to be with anywhere near us, well, it's better just to leave him alone and let him kind of carry on and do his thing. Sorry, I just want to check a track here quickly. There's hyenas, but I thought I saw a leopard in amongst this. All hyenas. These hyenas are quite something. What's been interesting is just looking at the tracks around that area. You could see what they did is they chased the waterbuck from this cut line straight over the fire break, straight to the dam. Once they hit the dam, then they basically chased them around the dam, and you can see where the waterbuck ran, and there was, it looks like at least at least two, but possibly three waterbuck that were there, and they were chased around and around, and then they managed to obviously get that one in, and then the hyenas kind of all closed in. You can see where the hyenas were running up and down, waterbuck running up and down, so it must have been quite a scene to have witnessed what went on there last night. As hyenas are seriously efficient, and there we go. It just goes to show, often we talk about the fact that hyenas scavenge here in the sands because it's easier. I wonder how often our leopards are scavenging from hyenas and end up getting a carcass and putting it up into a tree, and we always just blame the hyenas for stealing bits of it. And I wouldn't be surprised that often it's our leopards that are actually stealing little bits from the hyenas at times as well. And I think our Djuma clan probably hunts a lot more than we give them credit for. It's just we often don't see the evidence of it. If you look at yesterday's kill that they had at Buffelshoek Dam, there was very little left there, and if that had been somewhere deep in a block, we probably wouldn't have picked it up at all and wouldn't have known anything about it. So, you know, it's amazing to me how efficient they are at hunting, and how well they've done over the last little bits. Now, these evokers, I'm interested to see if they're going to keep moving as well. Right, James, I believe, is still sitting with his lions. He's having a much easier time of it because they're just taking it very, very easy and not moving around. And so let's send you back across to him and the Sausage Tree Pride and see what they'll get up to for the rest of the morning.
I am still with the lions. We've had high action here. One of them, Kinky Tail, got up out of the sun, and if you can believe it, she walked into the shade there where you can see her. The reason we're still here is not because there is nothing else to see in the Masai Mara, it's because there's a herd of buffalo, a very small herd, making its way slowly towards them, and I suspect quite strongly that my hope that they'll get up and do something is in vain. But I just think it's the best chance we have at the moment of some high action. So we're going to sit here a little bit longer and see if they don't get up and do something. Those buffalo are almost certainly going to find something to drink, and there's a gully, a very shallow gully, not far from here, that's definitely got water in it, so I think that's where they're moving. They've all suddenly decided to move. They've been grazing up until now, and the lions are just perking up slightly. I mean, they're certainly not leaping up and down and saying, woohoo, let's go hunting. But one of them's opened its eyes and is sort of peering towards the buffalo. It would be quite useful for them to have a male with them, as it doesn't look like there are any real youngsters in the herd. I think if there were, they'd probably be a little more interested. They are coming pretty much straight here, so I think it is definitely worth our while to sit for a while. It should take them about a week to get down to where we are now. I'm obviously joking. The camera's not that good. It can't see a week into the future. Well, as Louise says, they might be hoping to rest in the shade of the fig tree. Now, one of them's looked up and is looking straight down here. I suspect it's looking at us because, well, we're a lot more obvious than the lions. The wind is not blowing towards the buffalo, and in theory, you'll hear guides tell you this all the time, buffalo have poor eyesight. In theory, therefore, they wouldn't be able to see these lions sitting in the shade. I remain completely unconvinced that buffalo have got poor eyesight. I think I've been spotted by buffalo at a long way. That is you know what? This is a massive bachelor herd. There isn't a cow among them. Yes, thank you, Louise. There's no need for you to point that out. She says that, to be fair, I almost didn't see them sitting in the shade either. Yes, that is true. It is distressingly true, but we did see them in the end. Our scanning paid off. So let's see what they do. If they pass by the lions and don't do anything, I think we'll move on and see if we can't find the Payak pride, or perhaps those cheetahs, which I still haven't seen yet. Yeah, I think it's unlikely that 5 comatose lionesses are going to take on a herd of bachelor bulls. They could easily take on a herd with some youngsters, but I think bachelor bulls, they'll probably think to themselves there are easier things to eat out here. That buffalo knows something's up. And those lions are so fast asleep, it's frightening. Nothing except a guide is able to sleep like a lion. I'm sure I've told you this before, but I once worked with a guy who would do his morning game drive, finish at sort of 10 o'clock, stuff himself full of an enormous cooked fry-up, and then he'd go to sleep from about 10:30 till 3:30, when he'd roll out of his bed, have a shower and a Coca-Cola and a cigarette, and then take another game drive. And he always seemed to be so tired. Liz, bovine tuberculosis out here, I actually don't think they do have bovine tuberculosis. I might be wrong, but I don't think that it's a big problem in this area. I think it's largely a South African issue. It's an issue in Botswana as well, I think. Corridor disease is certainly a big issue in Botswana. Ah, they've found the water already. There it is, you can see them in the gully now, having a little drink. Some of them coming down the way still. Now 4 lions are looking. This is the kind of situation that can become maddeningly frustrating. Maddeningly frustrating. Because the buffalo look like they're coming and they don't, and they eventually end up back on the hillside. Not that the lions ever had any real intention of having a go at them. Come on, lions, how about a hunt, hey? Just a quick day hunt. Be nice. Some exercise. You don't need to kill one. Chris, a lot of people will tell you that the buffalo here are bigger than the ones at Djuma. I don't think that that's true. I think that they are certainly blessed of much larger horns, and that gives the impression that their bodies are actually bigger. I think they're about the same size, though. I don't think they're much. They may be slightly bigger, but not much. Impala, likewise. If you see Impala ewes, they definitely are not bigger than the ewes of Djuma, but their rams have got such enormous horns that it makes them look that much bigger. I would say the elephants are definitely lighter. They're more angular here. I'd say these lions are stockier, carry more muscle. They're not quite as sinewy as the ones at Djuma. But I mean, you've been looking at lions all day, so it'd be quite interesting to have your opinion, whether or not you think that this lot are very different from the ones at Djuma. strangely typical Mara breeze is blowing. Louise says, no, you didn't get a good enough look. Your lions kept running away into bushes. Very interesting what's going on at Djuma today. Clearly not the same level of calm as is pervading the realm of the Sausage Tree Pride. And apparently there's a whole lot of leopard action quite close to camp as well. Yes, I must say I kind of agree with Louise there. She says these lions look like they're lying on someone's lawn. They do. This looks like the perfect kind of picnic tree where you might be sitting having yourself a, well, morning picnic of perhaps egg and bacon rolls, some hot coffee, maybe if you're very lucky a glass of exceptional champagne. Next to you, the lions of the Sausage Tree Pride having a snooze. No, Louise, I'm afraid we don't have that in our picnic basket. There is no Dom Perignon in our picnic basket. This is the sum total of our picnic basket today. We don't normally take one on the morning drive. Macadamia, cashew. There are many things in Kenya that are not available in South Africa are available, not available here, but nuts. There are many, and they're delicious. That's what I'm having. Manu, please would you pass me the pack of poison that you've brought for yourself? Manu considers that a form of nutrition. I consider it such a poor form of nutrition that were to throw it on the ground here, I would consider it litter. What is this? Manu, what is this? Something sweet. There you are. Right, let's give these buffalo another 5 minutes and then we're going to move on. Perhaps I'm being impatient. I just can't see them taking these buff on. Everyone's different tastes, it's very funny. And needs and fussinesses. Okay, I don't know what Louise just said to me. She just said that we're linking, I think, to Tristan. I'm not sure where or how or what.
Well, James, yes, there's many fussy foodies in our camp, but James has got phobias to certain poisonous items that he calls poisonous items that others quite cherish and love. Obviously, you all know I have the mushroom phobia of note, and so that's my thing. Seb, is there something that you don't like at all? You're pretty good with food, eh? You eat most things.
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts, yes. So Brussels sprout is one that's gotten many a child to be green around the gills. A Brussels sprout can be a bit atrocious at times. I agree with you, Seb. I'm not a huge Brussels sprout fan as well. I mean, no. Doesn't matter how you try and sort this out. It just doesn't work. So yes, Brussels sprouts apparently are no good in Seb's world, but otherwise Seb's pretty good with eating most things. Yeah, mushrooms are a no-no for me. I can't bring myself to it. They're a fungus. Fungus is fungus. Any way you string it, and there's many types of fungus, and so in my mind all I think is things like athlete's foot and that, and I just can't do it. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. It doesn't help that their texture and consistency is also kind of slimy and soft and ugh.
Do you like
like snails?
Snails. Not a huge fan. Like, they're okay. I don't mind. I've tried them before, so snails are alright. But
It's all about the sauce.
it's all. Exactly. You don't really taste anything. It's all just sauce at the end of the day. So snails are alright, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. It's not really many other. I suppose they are. I'm not a huge cauliflower broccoli fan, even though that can also be drowned in cheese sauce. I'm not a huge, I don't like them that much, but everything else I'm okay with. You know, the other one that will surprise and shock, and there's a Bateleur eagle feeding. No, don't fly away. What is... Today is not a good day for me. Everything that I want to look at just keeps flying away. Why did you fly away, Bateleur eagle? That Bateleur eagle thinks that Christmas has come early. It's gotten a huge meal all to itself. You can imagine it's not very often a Bateleur eagle gets a whole waterbuck with no competition whatsoever. So it's probably feeling very much like it's won the lottery today, that particular individual. And we'll sit here a little bit further away in the hope that this Bateleur eagle will come back down again. I think it just got a fright because we came over the kind of damn wall, but at this stage everything's just running away from us. We had dogs run away from us, we've had hyenas run away, lions. What have you done, Seb? Why are they running away from us?
Nothing, I was sleeping.
You were sleeping? Well, not for very long by the sounds of things. Now you can see there's the carcass that it's feeding on. I mean, we've seen it a few times now. So, like I said, this thing must be thoroughly impressed with the fact that it's landed here and there's not a single predator in sight, not a single vulture, tawny eagle, and so it's got free rein to eat as much waterbuck as it wants, which will probably, like I say, be like Christmas for this Bateleur. But once these guys land, then inevitably you start to see other birds coming in, and so it's why I was kind of doing loops around. I was hoping maybe vultures would find it, because if you get 1 or 2 vultures, the next thing you'll have 20 vultures, and once they actually arrive on the scene, it gets quite chaotic. The problem is the weather today is not great, and so you often find vultures will be down on the trees when it's grey and overcast, and so it might take a bit of a time to get them here. If no hyenas arrive back here or predators arrive, the vultures will finish this carcass by this afternoon. You'll be surprised at how much vultures can eat. If you get 30, 40 vultures here, they'll clean up this waterbuck very, very quickly, and you'll end up with very little. I'm a bit sad that Tingana or Hasana wasn't here, because they would have scored themselves a really nice waterbuck meal. Could have gone and hoisted it up into a tree. They would have been here for a few days with that, and they've missed out. There was a golden opportunity for both of our sausages to really get a good meal out of this. I suppose it's not that they've really missed out, because in the end of the day, Hosanna apparently has got a meal again, so he's doing just fine at this stage of the game. Bateleur, are you going to come back down? Come on. We're not going to chase you. Don't be scared. Beautiful birds, though, aren't they? You can see it's a bit roughed up because there's a bit of a wind that's blowing, and so you'll find that their feathers go all over the place, particularly their head gets all kind of roughed up. Right, now while we sit with this, let's send you to Sydney, who's sitting with, I think, the original sausage as he, sausages.
You are more than welcome. I am still here having Tingana, who is now resting with a very big stomach, showing that he has been eating something just before we spotted him. So far, I am the only available vehicle here by the sighting. You're more than welcome to join me. So there are some other vehicles wanting to come and have a sighting. So he looks very tired at the moment. I am convinced by looking at that stomach that this cat has caught something. So if you look at those spots, you can see that the black spots camouflage these animals a lot with their surrounding. So these animals can survive both on the ground and by the trees. They can do both terrestrial and arboreal life. And when they're up by the trees, the spots blend with the leaves, and it becomes difficult for the animals to see them up. These animals, they are able to hunt and conduct their hunting activities up by the trees. They chase baboons up by the trees and they catch them there. On the ground, they catch these other animals. You can see these animals, they are so well equipped and they are agile climbers. There's quite a lot of alarm calls at the moment in the area from some of the birds. So they can go for a couple of days without eating, but normally they can even go for more than 2 weeks without eating. But when it gets to 2 weeks, then you'll start to see the condition of the body. You'll see them starting to lose weight. They will just be drinking every day. So I haven't seen him sowing for some time. So now let's go to Tristan, who's got Hosanna.
Indeed we do. So I was very confused by all of this, but thinking that Hosanna would have left, and I was right. He hasn't left. He's here. So he's still with his kill, and there's mass confusion, I think, as to what's actually been happening. But it sounds like Tingana made the kill. He's on that side. Hosanna is still here, which is really good news for us. I was convinced that he was still here when we drove around this morning, given the fact that there was this carcass in the tree and the water buck around. And Hosanna, if you just walk to the water now, you're going to score yourself a meal. Don't be silly now, boy. He's obviously been hiding out, kind of taking it easy. Now, that meal's not going to be very nice. There's a fresh water buck, Hosanna. No, he's not listening to me. He's going to eat his old impala instead. But at this stage, he should be okay. I mean, there's no hyenas around. He should be able to find that water buck without any issues whatsoever, and if he finds it, he'll have a good feed. The problem is that thing is way too heavy for Hosanna to tree. He won't get that right at all, and he unfortunately will probably lose it to whatever is around. Now, it depends on how many vultures arrive here, it depends on if the lions get in here, but if he doesn't hoist it, he's going to most certainly lose it tonight to all of those hyenas. And even if he does hoist it, if the lions come along, they'll most definitely probably steal it as well. So he's on a bit of a hiding to nothing, but he can get a really nice feed on some nice fresh meat over the course of the next little bit if he's clever about it. You can hear the squirrels are shouting. They're very upset that Hosanna is back here, but I'm very glad that our intuition paid off. Roshni, you say yes, he's got a fine palate and that he prefers the lazy aged meat rather than, you know, the fresh stuff that's just been killed. Lazy aged is what he likes to go after, except the problem is this lazy aged smells as though it's been gone foul a few months ago. That's how stinky it is. And so Hosanna, like I say, if you just finish your kill and you go for water, you're going to find yourself a much better present than what you've got inside your tree there. But you can still see there's quite a bit there. I mean, there's more than enough to keep him here. And that's why I was so surprised this morning when we were talking about, or when I heard that Hosanna was in camp, because, you know, I just thought to myself, why would he leave all of this? I have a funny feeling that Hosanna was on the ground, the wild dogs came, chased him, it rained, he had hyenas all around, and so he just found himself a little sort of secluded spot just to get under and sleep and take it very easy. And now everything's calmed down in this area. He's now kind of finding himself moving around a little bit and actually doing his thing. But I'm glad that we persevered around the dam. It's paid off for us. We've had leopard, lions, and wild dogs and hyenas all at Buffelshoek Dam, well, pretty much around Buffelshoek Dam this morning, which has been quite something. So it's been a very productive little spot over the last 3 drives, and I'm glad that we, at this stage, I was thinking to myself, I've really misread animals badly this morning, because everything seems to not be where I thought it would be. But with him, at least, you know, one thing is constant, and that his love for food will far outweigh his fear of everything else, and eventually he'll come back to his carcass. Now he's looking down that area. I wonder if he'll come down and head there just now. Lexi, obviously difficult to know exactly because we only found it when it was already half eaten. But he, obviously today, yesterday, and I think it was from the day before, I would have called that it was killed in the morning, or so what's that, 2 mornings ago? No, 3 mornings ago, I think is when it was killed. And then he fed off it through the day, because when we found him the night before last, he was on this Buffelshoek Dam wall, and that was on a little bumble that we did, and on Monday evening, and he was full and panting on the dam wall. So I have a funny feeling he killed it during either the morning or during the day, and then he had eaten some of it and had hoisted it, and then he was just resting on the dam wall. And so 3 days old, which is about right. I mean, you find generally when they kill big impalas like this, it normally lasts them, 3 to 4 days, depending on how kind of hungry they were going into this meal, which we know Hassan is never really ever very hungry. He seems to be able to always have a meal somewhere up his sleeve and not shy to eat anything that he can find. But it does smell, I can promise you that. It's not a pleasant smell at all. Right, now from one sausage who is, well, filling up the sausage casing, let's send you across to the other sausage, his dad, and see what he's up to.
Not much is happening at the moment here where I am. Tingana is just now very much relaxed. The temperature is nice and cool for him to do this at the moment, and the stomach is full, so I don't think he will go anywhere. He might be in the same area for the whole afternoon. And Niconico viewer, these animals, they can go and hide by the big trees. They can also hide by the thick bushes. Some of them, you will find them under the rocks. So they can easily hide by the den areas as well. So you can see that with that broken tree, which is lying on his head, is difficult for an animal or for someone to see him where he is. He is hiding, and I saw there was a steenbok earlier looking at him, but he was not worried about that steenbok at all. I think he is full enough to sleep for the day. So the distance between Tingana and Hosana at the moment is a few kilometers. They are not close to each other, but they can be close to each other maybe before at the end of today. If Tingana picks up that Hosana is going to kill somewhere, he will probably go there. Look at that. Now he's up and running again. James, it is a wonderful morning indeed. There has been quite a lot of activities on the predators. So there's been too much lions, and now Tingana and Hosana.
I've just relocated on Hosana.
So you can see that now it seems like he wants to go somewhere. So I can't wait to see his intentions. station looking for Sana coming. So I'm just going to give someone a direction to come to here where I am. I'm just on the opposite side. I am very much surprised seeing that this cat is not willing to conduct some hunting activities when the weather is on his favor like this. I think this is the weather which is best for these animals to do something. So now let's cross over to the Masai Mara. James has just left the lions at the moment.
Righty, so we've left the sausages. Manu basically made the decision for us. We were both prevaricating and he said they're not showing any intent. So I said, yes, let's go. And we just started the car and left before we could think about it. So they haven't shown any intent towards the buffalo. I don't think they're going to try and catch those buffalo, and so we left. We will probably send Pat and Corley down here at about 12 o'clock this afternoon and find them on a buffalo carcass, killed at roughly 9:05. Anyway, so it will go. Now this is roundabout where we had the old Donyo Payeks yesterday. So we might get lucky there. I'm still hoping desperately to see the cheetah and her cubs in Assyrian. But because there are very few tourists in the area at the moment, we're the only ones looking around, so it is a little tough. Very pleasant, just a little tougher. We shall try our scanning technique. Served us so well. I do apologize for the wind. I'm sure it's quite nasty. Not much I can do about it. All right, there's some zebra up ahead. Let's go and have a look at them. Yes, Louise, you're absolutely right. She says it sounds like we may have a good time flying a kite. Yes, that is true. I do not have a kite with me though, so I think we'll probably just drive. It's really suddenly got very windy. As we know, the weather is very variable in this part of the world. I think we're going to have a little scan from up here, down there. Seeing as it has served us so well. Just want to get a little bit more height, and then we'll have a look down into that valley there. Alrighty, let's look from here. Oops, somewhere down there, Manu, is where we had them yesterday. As the wind howls at us, howling wind. I see lots of zebras. I see not any lions or cheetahs. Very nice to be able to scan around like this, see for so far. See for so far, I don't think that's English. The thing about being live is that you can't take it back, you can't redo it. I'm afraid I didn't get that, Louise. I got something about caramel, but I'm sure that's not what you said. Oh, it looks like a painting when we scan. Yes. So you weren't talking about caramel then? Yes. No cats, no caramel. Let's move on. No caramel. Good. Oh, there's a question. Yes. 2T. Do we see many leopards in the Mara? 2T, we don't see leopard very often in the Mara. They are around, but we don't spend a huge amount of time in amongst the sort of thick drainage line areas where we'd most often see them. They are seen. I mean, probably in the busy season they're seen on a daily basis by various people and they get called in on the radio, but it's not... I don't think it's ever going to provide the same leopard viewing as the Sabi Sands does, and that's because the roads are much more spaced apart. You don't track on foot here, and most of the roads don't actually go through the forested areas, and so I don't think it's ever going to deliver the same leopard sightings as the Sabi Sands does, but there are a lot of relaxed leopards here, for sure. I have not seen many. But those that I have seen have generally been fairly relaxed. So I don't think it's really a habituation issue. There's a zebra over there that's sticking its whatnot out, which I don't think we should look at. It's slightly disturbing. Put it away. It's not even around any other zebras. Let's watch that bird there. Hang on a second. What is that vulture doing? It doesn't look like it's gaining height. It looks like it might be coming down. Unless it's just playfully hanging in the wind. It's got its landing gear down. Or something hanging from its bottom, I'm not sure which. It's definitely going down. Don't you think, Manu? Let's watch it carefully. I don't see any others homing in. But maybe it spotted a cheetah kill. Let's go. You ready? See it coming down. It's just landed. It's landed on the ground, not on a tree. All right, as we're going along here, apparently we're going to link to someone called Christy.
So you can see the camouflaged Tingana is very much relaxed there. All we are seeing now is just a small portion of the roseate spots. It's very much difficult to tell if that is an animal. Behind the bushes, you can see that the concealment is perfect there. So we can only see those bright colors there because that is from underneath, but on top you can see that the spots and the color is much darker. So now you can see that from a distance it doesn't look like an animal. So, but because the camera is zoomed, you can see it nice and clear. But if you're just passing by, when it's there, you won't. It's just that Tingana, he doesn't like any kind of a close contact. So you can approach him from the vehicle, but on foot, he doesn't like that. So this is the old man. So this cat, you can see that is well fed. So despite the fact that he's taking sometimes the kill from Hosanna, he does quite a lot of hunting himself. So in other words, getting something from Hosanna is a bonus. So now let's go to Hosanna with Tristan.
Indeed, we are still with Hosanna, who's sitting and eating and then taking it very easy, as he's done over the course of the last day and a half since we've been watching him at this kill. And I'm quite glad to see him, because today is my last drive before I go on leave. So I'm going on leave today, and it would be it's a nice way to finish. I thought I wasn't going to see him on my last drive, and I'm glad that I have managed to catch up with him once again to finish things up. Now, I am on leave for quite some time, actually. I'm away for almost 3 weeks, and then I'm off to the Mara for 2 weeks, and then we'll be on leave again. So this will be my last drive on Juma at this stage until the 2nd of January, which is a long, long time away, obviously, which is a bit sad in many respects. I'm going to miss the change of the seasons here, which is always bit tough. I like watching things go green here and seeing all the animals come back and birds and those kind of things. I'm also going to obviously miss the fact that we're not going to be able to see Hosanna on a day-to-day basis. But hopefully by the time I get back, he's still around and everything's still settled and everything is okay. But it's, going to be nice to have some proper breaks, and we are going, like I was saying, Ali and I are off to Zambia for a little bit, and then we're going to the coast with Brent and Jamie when they're on leave, and so it's going to be a nice kind of leave planned. And then obviously, like I say, Mara will be quite nice for the 2.5 weeks that I'm there, and then down to the coast with my family for Christmas, which will be very, very pleasant. So it's going to be a good time, and thoroughly looking forward to all of that. But it's been a very good morning to finish up, that's for sure. Sky, indeed. Juma was full of intrigue and mystery and secrets and chaos, is what I would say. It was also in the mix there, because the start of our morning was also pretty chaotic, with dogs running around and hyenas and dead waterbuck, and it was kind of all happening. But an interesting morning nonetheless, and a action-packed morning if you think about it. I mean, I was just saying to Seb, we've been very lucky this morning. We've seen lions, leopard, wild dogs and hyenas, and haven't really driven that far at all, which is quite nice. And obviously Sydney's had lion and leopard of his own, and well, James contributed with the sausage tree pride and many other glorious things up in the Masai Mara. So it's been an absolutely kind of cracking sort of end to our good morning and an end to my cycle in the bush. Now Hassan, you can see, is kind of looking as though he's going to come down fairly soon, which is nice. But like I said, I'm super glad that we managed to see him, and super glad that we had a really cool morning. It's been very, very fun to spend them with Seb over the last couple of days. We've had some good drives, haven't we, Seb?
Definitely.
Yeah, Seb and I have had some fun, and we've had some good laughs too as well. So it's been a good few days, and I'm glad to finish it with this. But anyway, from James and Sydney and myself, all the cam-ups and Limpy Blue Steel Steam Cat, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you all this afternoon on Sunset Safari.